And on a more relevant example to today, we have mRNA vaccines now that are, changing the way we fight diseases in the world, especially if you're still willing to take vaccines, which everyone should. Like, I feel like the world has gone crazy on this front. But obviously, like, this is the number one public health intervention of all time, saved more lives than everything else maybe combined. And so, you know, you start because you understand how biology works, how cells work, how organelles work, how genetic sequences work, and how the cell itself reads genetic messages, encodes proteins from that, and those proteins are used, among other things, to fight foreign pathogens. So it starts out in Bohr's quadrant, in this curiosity-driven research. It moves into Pasteur's quadrant as you start to apply it to the problems of actual diseases. And then it moves into Edison's quadrant when you're like, okay, how do we mass produce this vaccine? How do we distribute it? How do we engineer the vaccine so that it remains virulent, so that you don't have to keep it at liquid nitrogen temperatures? And then all of a sudden, you can vaccinate billions of people against a potentially deadly disease, and you reduce the death rate, and you improve everyone's quality of life. This is something that there's a path to it. And it's sort of like, if you're like, oh, water's coming out of my hose, that's great. Who needs the reservoir that we're getting the water from? Let's disconnect the hose from the reservoir. You'll still get water out of the hose for a little while, and then it goes away and it dries up, and you have nothing because you've removed the foundation. If you took your house off the foundation, you would still have a house for a very short while until it started to sink because you don't have a foundation. And I feel like this is very much the path that the Science A New Golden Age document lays out. And you have to be very careful with this because we look at gold as like the standard of richness and wealth, but it's the difference between the gold in Fort Knox, which is solid gold, and the gold in Las Vegas, where you have things basically made out of paper mache with gold paint on them. Just because it looks like gold doesn't mean it's gold.